So exactly, yeah. So that's what we are going to be doing today. I've said we are going to continue from this part where we are going to create the routes for this. You see the routes for this. What I mean by the routes is when you click this document, then it's going to link or it's going to route to that particular document, that exact document. That's what I mean by route. And again, that's what I mean. That's what we are going to be creating. And previously, we just prepared the document. In case you don't see or you are stuck from where we left, then just go to the previous video that we did. I have my video here in this YouTube channel here. So this is what we did last week. So you can just go through that and then you can catch up from where we are going to be building. So I've said we are going to prepare the routes for this page. We also are going to complete the server.js, and also we are going to prepare the controllers. So from that side, we can continue to our code. And to continue to our code, this is what we prepared for the server.js. We prepared everything. We connected our front end with our back end. We prepared this route. Then also we initialized our port. Also, we prepared a document here. These models, we imported them here, of which we have not used. We are yet to use the socket.io. We are going to use it today and other things that we are going to implement. So with that said, we also implemented the DB. We connected the database with our front end. And you remember, if you can't get this, kindly check the video that we are going to share, the previous video, and then you are going to see how we came up with this database. Then we also prepared the document model where we are going to see how we connect our front end in database. This is one that is going to receive our documents, are going to receive everything into our database. So let's continue with the with creating that other part, and that other part is basically let me just go. But in case my VS Code is not clear, kindly just tell me to zoom in, to zoom out, so that we can all see. In case you are not seeing my Visual Studio Code, kindly let me know so that I can zoom, so that you can all see what's going on. So what I want us to prepare, you see this document. Once we click this document, I want us now to have a pop-up just like this, a pop-up where we are going to create a document, and then it's going to start writing that document. So that's the goal for today. But before we create that, we need to prepare several things. I've said we are going to prepare the routes. So to prepare the routes, let's just go to here. You know, we created this empty folder that is a route. We are going to create our document route. This one here, inside our route, we are going to create route, and let's call it document routes. We can call it like that. Routes. That's how we write routes.js, because it's a JavaScript code. So here we are going to, as usual, import Express. Then we are going to require Express for that case. Let me just do this, require Express like that. Then after we require Express, we also are going to require the library, that is the route. So we are going to do const route, const route, not route, but const router. We are going to call that one Express. We are going to call this Express. Then we are going to require the router. The router is already installed by default when it comes to our our coding. Then we also are going to require something extra, that is the document. And remember, this document is this model that we created. We already created this document. Then I'm going to show you what I mean by we already created this document here that we are going to import. So you see this document, you already created this model or this model. We are trying to import this one into our routes. Why? Because we want to see whenever I create a document now, I want to route to that document, but I want to route to my own document. That is my personal document. That's the one I want to route to. So that's why we are requiring this document, and this document is basically two steps away in our models. Then in our models we have this document like that, and that's it for importing all the necessary things that we need to do. But now we also need to import controllers. But before we import controllers, let's create a route for this document. How? Once I click the button for create, I can now create the document, and then I can route to the exact page where I want to edit that particular document. So this is how you do it. Because we already have this router that we have defined here. So let's just comment so that um, we can see our code clearly. Maybe when we are review this code, we can know this function, the work of this function, the work of this piece of code, this block of code, the way all the work it's doing. So we are going to create a router for create document. So inside here, we are going to use the router.post. This is the method of post because now we want to post a document. We want to push something to the database. So we are going to basically post here. But here, this is how we write this route. So I want this route to go to the page of create document, right? Once I go to the page of create document, like this, I want also to make this an asynchronous function that has a request and has a response. Then let's make it an arrow function instead of using the normal functions. So here, once now I create this document, let me just demo whatever I'm talking about. Once I create this document, you see, I say test 23. I'm at test 24. Once I click this button, it's going to route to a page of create. You see that? It's going to route to that page. Then it's going to append the title here. Then it's going to open this editor like this. That's what we want to achieve. But here is what we want to achieve. So what we are going to achieve once we create that document, once we just create that document, we are going to require the title because we need the title of that document. That's what we are going to pass over here. Then we are going to have the request dot the body. So the body means the body of that particular that particular document that we are creating. We are going to need that, or we are going to post that to our database. Maybe if there is something else that we needed to post, for example, apart from the title that we appended, you also want to make this one a new document. For example, if it's a new document, we can create the new document like this. Then let's make this an object, and this object is going to require title. And remember, this title is the one that we have defined here. The title keeps on changing, so we can define it here. And also, because we are creating a document, you see, once we created a document, this document was initially empty. And we defined that part as the content of that document. and that document content was an empty string, like that. But now after you create this document, yes, we have the title, and now we can create the document with an empty content. What else do we need to do? We need uh, we need, because this is an asynchronous function, we can await the new document. You see this function that we have created here, this variable that is document dot save. Now save that document to the database. Then after that, what next? After that, in case we add any error in our code or in the activity that we are trying to do, in case we add any error, we can now show the status of that particular error. For example, we have 2001 error, not 2000 but 201. Then we are going to get the error message from that, and then we are going to append it and show it in form of a JSON. So from that, there's something that we have used here, but I think yet we have not yet defined it. What have we added here and we have not yet defined it? Maybe what do we need? We need also to import something extra, but for now I don't think it's necessary. If it's necessary, but whenever we are going to need it, we are going to use it. In case we are going to need it, we are going to use it. So we can create another route where we are going to get all documents. And getting all documents is fetching all the documents from the database and then displaying them here. That's what we mean by getting all the documents. But remember, all the documents, we are going to use the router.get. So that the get method is the fetch method. From the database, display it to the front end. So in case we get or we fetch something from the database, but in which URL? In the home page. So this URL means the home page or the default page. That is the initial page of a document that you always load. So whenever we route to that document, this path, whenever we route to that path, then we are going to find all the documents from the database, and then we are going to display them to the front end and then format that because and format that from JSON based to now the actual content that we want to see. So we want to create a variable here and call it documents. See these documents? It's going to display a list of these documents. This is an asynchronous function, so we can just wait. We can wait for document, and remember this document is this one here that we required here. In case you are wondering, this document is the same as this document we used here. It's the same document. Thank you. So go to the list of documents and then find all these documents. We can say find, or we can say find all. So here you can see we can find all the document. We can find by ID in case we want to get a specific document. Find one, you can see all these. You can see find one and update. All these functions exist. And now it's up to us to know how to basically use them. So as you can see here, this list, the list of things that we can get. And remember, this is a document. Everything you see here, everything that you see here on the right side is already, we have already defined. You can see collaborators, version history, because already it's inside these documents. Whatever it's trying to find here. Do I want to find all? Do I want to find one and update? Do I want to find a specific thing? That's what you are seeing over there. So let's make this a function like that, but because here we have this document in a form of objects, so let's also return that in a form of object. Now now return the response, and this response will be in form of sorry, will be in form of a JSON, and then here we are going to return this document like that. And that's it for basically for the route. But remember, this is something, so we need to import, or we need to, sorry, not import, but module.export, we are going to export the router like that. Then it's going to export everything that we need to create over here. Because it's using the router, you see, the router is exporting every function like that. And that's it for basically creating the routes. So for now, I don't know if we can create a document, but we can try. We can actually try to see if we can actually create a real document. It seems this input is not working once I click this, but let's try to fix that. Then we try to create a document from our database. So let's see if we created this. Yeah, this function for create a document. We have the document for routes. We have this for the DB. What's basically remaining? Maybe the controllers are remaining so that we create this document. So to create a document, we need to create these controllers. Now, these controllers help us now to control what we need to do. Either get documents, either uh, create documents, update documents, all those things, they will help us navigate through. So let's do this. Let's just go to the controllers. This will be the last thing, and then we test our document. So inside the controllers, let's create a dog controller. Dog controller.js. Later, we are going to create a controller for authentication where we are going to authenticate. We are going to control all those things like the users, everything. We are going to make sure that we control. So here, we are going to import document. This is document, not documentation. We are going to use document. Then we are going to require. The document from the models as well. That model we created, we are going to require that model. Then here, now we are going to create the function for now. We are going to create the function for creating the document. Now I can show you another way. Instead of now writing modules.export, then you export a specific thing. Here, instead of using this, here we can try to use another thing. For example, we can just export it export dot create document like that. Export dot create document. Now this one was supposed to be maybe route dot, then we come here and export this function like create document like this. But for now we don't want to use it. We can just do away with it. Then we just stick with this one here. So export dot create document. Then let's make this as an asynchronous function. As an asynchronous function that is going to have the request and also the response. Then you can add all those autocompletes in case you need them. Then this one is a function that is going to have several things. So inside here, we are going to require things like the title and the content. Why? Because now we are creating the action itself where I'm going to create the documents. Now, once I create this function for create the document, I want now to create the document with the title and the content. And remember, for example, this one we created it, but the content was initially empty. So that's the function that we want to achieve. Now the function itself for create. The other ones were just the routes where I'm going to create. You see this function for create, then it's going to create. You see this one is just for fetching all the documents from the database. You are just preparing. Now this one is the one now for the actual creation. Now sending the database, blah, 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 everything like that. So here we are going to const here we are going to pass the context, and the context here we need the title, then also we need the content itself. Now here in the content here we are going to request dot body. We are going to require the body, that is the actual content of the title and the text. Because this document was created by a specific owner, we can decide to do the owner, or for now we can leave it, but we can just prepare because we need to use it later. So this one should be the request dot the user who's logged in dot the ID. This one we can ignore it for now. We are going to later require it, or we are going to later use this part whenever we are trying now to create the authentication part and everything. So let's do this. Let's now create the actual document. So I'm going to use try catch, the try catch block, where I'm going to catch any possible error. For example, let me just catch these errors before everything else, then I'm going to do the try part. Then for the console, we just use the console clg console.log. Then here I'm going to pass the error dot the actual message of that particular error, like that. Then maybe in case we add any, for example, server error, you can just decide to include this the exact error messages in case you want to display this, because this one exactly is going to be a 404 error, or just a 500 error, 500 error code, or any kind of error message here. Then here we are just going to send a specific message. Instead of now showing the actual error message from the server, we are going to send a message, a custom message, uh, that is a custom message, and we'll call it server error. Instead of now sending the actual server error, we are going now to send our custom server error to the user. Now you are going to see this page is not possible, or we can just send, instead of sending this error message, again you can send a quick game for a user to play by the time they are just waiting for the server to respond, or those other things to respond. So now for the try, here is where we are going to create the document itself. Ignore this part. You can just decide to ignore this part. That is the catch for now. In case you don't understand it, we are going to create it again. So here, so inside here, we are going to require this document, and this document we are going to require this document that we are going to send. But this is an object. But inside our document, see this document is this document here. And remember, this document is coming from the document model. So that's whatever we are trying to require here. So we are not creating our own functions from the blues. So inside here, what do I want to create, or what do I want to send to the DB? Here, I want to send the title of that document. Also want to send don't need that Don't need this as well. I need the title, I need the content, I need the owner of uh, that document in case we have one, and the owner of the document is the one who created the document. And remember, to be the owner you need to have logged in to the system. Then we also need a version history. As you can see, it's importing it directly for me here because we have this document that we have imported it correctly. That's why it's trying to import this. But remember, this history is a list of history. It's an array of these versions. We have version 1, version 2, all the way to those different versions. So here we are going to pass the version should not be the title, but the version should be the content. The version should be the content is the one that should be versioned. So with that, now we can do something that is we say const document. Now we want to return this function. You see this function that we have created, we need to use this function as well. So we are going to create this function document, and then it's going to await new document dot save. Now save that to the DB like that. Then we are going to do something here, and we are going to send the response to the user, and then the response should be the JSON response like that. Then our code should be working perfectly. So this one is complaining because I deleted this one, should be .id. Then our code should not be complaining at all. So basically that's it for how we create a document. But remember, here in our document routes, this is the route for create the document, and this one is the route to get the document. But this document control as well, we need to fetch all the documents. So get /fetch all the documents from DB and display to the front end like that. So we are going to create one here. Which one? This one is very simple. So we are going to say export dot get documents like this. Response export dot get documents. You see these functions. There's no specific way to define these functions. This one is a just function name that I've just created from my head, so you can just make sure, or you can play around with these names. So it's not a must that you create they be like this one here. No, this one is something that you can create. It's just a function name that you give it. Let's use the try catch block again, where we are going to the try catch, for example, is just like the if else statement. If something is successful, then give this output or do this particular thing. If a condition is true, just give it this particular thing. Else, catch. What if we have an error? Just print out the message and catch the error and show the error message. It's the same as the try catch. Try this particular function. Then if we have an error, then catch that error before we just do the other parts, and then show that to the front end. Here we are just going to write 2 lines of code that is going to get all the documents from the database, then it's going to display to the front end. And how do we do it? We write const documents const documents is equal to, because this is an asynchronous function, it's going to await, await documents, await document, and remember this document is this document here, that model that we created, that is the document dot find all the documents from the database. But this time round, be careful whenever you are trying to find this document. Only find the document that are related to that particular owner, right? I don't want to display documents from different people unless, so I want to display only the documents that are related to me. So that one should be the request.user.id. So whenever we are going to create, or by the time we are going to create the authentication, then this function will be or will come into place. Whenever we create, or by the time we create this document or this function for authenticate, now it's going to show all the documents that are related to me. So response.json, you're going to return the JSON file of that document. Then for the error message, we are going to console.log. Then here we are going to console log the error, the actual error dot message. But what if we add an error message, a specific error message from the server? We can just display that error message from the server like that, and then there we go. This one should be able now to create our document. We can just refresh, we can just click and see if we are going to create. It seems that one is not working, but we are going to check it. We are going to check our front end, what's going on in our front end, in case it's not doing whatever we want to see. Someone say they don't see my screen. Is everyone see my screen, or it's only Emmanuel? You can refresh Emmanuel. You can just refresh your screen. Anyone with any questions so far before we continue to the rest part of the application? We're almost done. Today you're not going to take a lot of time. We are going to be done anytime from now. So we are only going to prepare some few things, then we are going to do that. So whatever we are going to prepare is only few things, like we are going to prepare one more part, that is this part. Which part is this? We are going to prepare the front end as well, then complete the final parts of the backend. So for the complete final parts of the backend, I think we're almost done if I'm not wrong, but we can prepare one more thing for this backend to work. For this backend to work now, yes, we have created these document controllers where I'm going to fetch these documents. Yes, I've done that. This one is the function, the actual function itself. Then we have this function that is the create document. This is the function that we have created. But remember, this is only for the backend part. We have created all these routes, but remember, these routes are just for the backend part. The last thing that we need to prepare is now connecting these functions we have created to our front end. Now, how do we connect that to our front end? Remember, we created this server.js file that is going to help us now write all the functions, all the code that will help me connect my front end with my backend. So we are going to do that. So because we have already imported socket.io, that is going to help us connect the front end with the back end. Then we have connected our DB. Then we have our, do we have our .env? We don't need that for now. We have the path, we have our body parser, we have our document, which we are now going to use it right away. Then I think we have everything that we need for our inputs. Remember, this function is the one that we use to connect our front end with our back end. Remember, we required this path, this directory. We specified which directory we want. We wanted the client directory, and it's in this path. Then we also required something like this one. Now in the client directory, what do you want to get? Get a specific thing for this particular path. That's what we created for this part. Now the rest part is actually now connecting our front end to to the to the backend. But remember, we want routes, and we said, remember, we were writing this document where we are going to need our routes. So our routes should also be included. We want to get specific things, but remember, we are connecting our front end to the backend. What do we need to use? We need to write app.use what functions, or use what we are going to use. We are going to use this. We are going to use API slash slash docs. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how we are getting these things. I'm going to really show you how we are getting these these things. Doc routes. Do we have these doc routes? We need to import these doc routes. Yeah, we need to import these doc routes so that we can use these document routes. You see these document routes? We need them. We need them. So we need to import that document routes. The same way we have imported the models, we also need to import the doc routes like this. So we import const doc routes. Then we are going to require the document routes. This one is not in the models. This one is in the routes. It's in the route directory. Remember our routes, this directory. Then we are going inside our document directory. We are going to require a specific thing. See, these doc routes. And this is the one that we have used it over here. So that's the path that we are going to be using. And this path is the one that we have just stated here. Now let's create the magic part, the interesting part. That is now connecting this front end. Once I click, I create a document, and then sends that thing to the database, then executes this code. So whatever we do here is very simple for us um, to create this document. Only around 3-5 lines of code, and then uh, we create our code. So you see this app already, we defined this app here, and then it required express and everything. So this one is not a new thing, we already initialized it over here. So this one, we are going to use the post method, and this post method is going now to the path of API, the API path that we have just created for ourselves. Then is going to go to the docs, then is going to create a specific thing with that ID. So we use this one now to specify the ID over here. So then the next thing that we create, let's make this also as an asynchronous function. with a request and a response like that. Then we make this an arrow function like that. And this part, see this code, this one here is the one that we are going to use now to create all the functions that we need. So whenever we are creating a document, what do we need? We need uh, we need we need the title, because whenever we are creating a document we only need the title, and we also need an empty body. So request dot body like that. Now because we are writing this function, we need to do several things. Not only writing the title, but we want to send that new document to the database like this. This is because new document is equal to a new document. That document, remember, we have already defined it here. So we are not just writing something that does not exist. So that one exists. Then in our document, we are going to pass the title. We are going to pass the title, and also we are going to pass the content. And remember, our content is empty by default whenever we are creating a new document. Then because this one is a function or a variable that we have created, we are going to await this new document dot save to the database. Then we are going to send the response dot json, then here we are going to pass this new document like that. And that's it for preparing that path. I don't think we need to prepare any other path for now. The final thing that is remaining is actually now testing our application. I don't know why this is not working, but we need to check on our front end in case if we wrote all the JavaScript that we needed. We need to check that if we created that JavaScript we needed. So we are going to really check that. So I think we can check that. I think everything is done over here. Only one thing that is remaining, but we are going to do that after we test our application. So let's go to our front end and see what's going on here. We have this document, that is the add document. We have the new document, but yes, we have created this, but we have not created the JavaScript for creating that pop-up. See this pop-up, where is it? You see this pop-up, this one here, or this prompt. This is the prompt. You can't create that prompt with HTML. So you need JavaScript to create that pop-up. So let's go to, let me just, for now, let me just close these unnecessary files. And then remain with this. So here, we need to create our JavaScript, our normal JavaScript now, not the Node.js, but our normal JavaScript that we can create to actually create these documents. So I think this one I will just copy, and then I will explain what's going on. But before I copy, let me show you something or some of the things that we need to import. Let me just copy and then we explain what's going on. Let me see if I've written this code, because I don't think I can remember the whole code. So let's see the things that we need. We need socket IO, we need documents lists, we need new document, we need the editors, we need everything like that. Let me just copy everything up to there, and then I explain what's going on. Let me see if I linked my JavaScript well. I don't think so. So I need to link my JavaScript. Yeah, I linked it here, so I don't need to link it again. So this one is working here. So now, so here, you see this socket.io thing. This is the socket that will enable us to connect the front end and the and the and the back end. So that's the front end. That's whatever will enable the library that will enable us to connect the front end and the back end. Yes, we have prepared everything is ready, but how do we connect? We are going to connect that using the socket.io, right? Then uh, yes, as you can see here, as you can see here, this one it seems that we connected, but we didn't connect every functionality. So that's why we are using this socket IO to connect every functionality, like the sending things to the database straight from the front end and the rest. Yes, we prepared everything, but now we want to connect everything. Now the functionality, everything, the activity that's going on, everything, tracking the time or usage spending in our system, everything. Now we are going to send that uh, with that socket. So like that. So we have the new document. Remember the first step is clicking this new document. So we need the new document and then we have the new document button. Let me just, where is it? Like this, Control B. Yeah, this button here, whenever we click this button, we want now to create that prompt, that pop-up for now create a document. And this one is the editor container where we are going to get the editor. The editor container is this one here in our finished product. See this editor here. The whole thing, this whole thing is the editor that I'm talking about, the editor container. In this one here, the editor container, get element by ID, which this one is the editor container. And let's see if we have the editor container, we are going to see that later. Then for now, we only need this document and also the document list, but not really for now. Yeah, not really, not necessary for now. But for now, let's just focus on this part. Then the later we are going to revisit as we build our application. So I'm going to paste another line of code here. And that one is this document create. This create new document like that. Let me see if that's correct. Yeah, we need that. So we only need this function for create. This function for create. How do you call that? Yeah, we only need this function for create a document. So whenever we create a document, we are executing this function. Now create that. So create this function, a normal function, but that one is an asynchronous function. That now we create a document. Then we enter a document title. We are going to just tell it to enter a title with a prompt. Then if we have a title, just the normal if statement, not the try catch. If we have a title, check the response, and that response should use this function for fetch. Then just fetch the document route, then just add that document into the database. Then we pass the method as a post. Then after that, we pass the headers. Maybe this we are going to revisit later. Then the body of the content should be json.stringify. In case we have any document, make it a string, then just stringify this title. Then from that, we are going to create a new function that is the new document. Then it's going to await the response, then format that in the form of JSON. Then this function is now going to be returned here. Then from that is actually now um, relocating, or is going to change the route to the new document. I think you noticed once we created the document. Once we created the document, let me just create a new document, a test one, and say blah 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 blah. Once I create this document, I see it's being routed to the document that has been created. So this line of code is doing that. Create this document and then route to the edit.html. That we are going to create it later. Then do that. But for now, I can comment. This one is a function for fetch documents. We don't need that function for fetch documents because I don't think we need it. Don't think we need that function for fetch that particular document. So we can now try to run several things and check if this app will work. We can try. We can reload. It seems that we have no prompt, so I need to check on this code. I think we have one more thing remaining. That is the new document. That is the new document btn. We have, yeah, this new document btn. Once I click that new document btn on click, now once I on click, it's going to create new document. It's going to create new document. You see, this one is going to execute this function or this function here. Once I click that button, it's going to execute this function. So let's see, refresh. Now we have our pop-up. So we can actually test. But before we test, let's go to our MongoDB and see in our project Y, we have documents. In our documents here is actually empty here. Now let's see, whenever we create this document, if it's going to create an actual document like that. So I'm going to say hello world and say first trial like that. Then I'm going to press enter, and let's go to our DB and check if we created a document. So let's just refresh and see if we created actual content inside. And there we go. You can see we have created our hello world first trial. Content is empty because of course we don't have content. Collaborators because we have not logged in. We have these versions because we don't have any version of the document, because remember the version of the document depends with the content of that document, and our content is empty. So the versions should be an empty array created at exact time. You can format that into local type. Then we have that and everything. That means our app is working perfectly as needed. And there's nothing else that we need to do. So whatever we need to do is actually now creating the part that is for the edit, that is for the edit document. So for the part of that part for edit document, let me show you how we create that, and that will be the last part because we are running out of time. So remember, whenever we created a document, we want to route it to this page. So let's do this. So it's basically the HTML, nothing else for the backend. It's just create. That is, we can call it edit.html. Then this is the HTML. I'm just going to copy the HTML. We don't need to struggle with the HTML for something simple like creating the document. So here I'm going to paste that one here. Then I'm going to comment. I'm going to uncomment this part. Whenever now I create a new document, I want to route into that page. Then after that, I need something. I need something for the edit. For now, we can check. Yeah, I think that should be working well. So, what do we need to do? We need to do. Let me check. We are done with the HTML for the edits. For the script, we are going to revisit. Then for the, or maybe we can just complete this script. That is now, you see this document we have created, these documents we have created in our DB. What if we just display them here? What if we just display them here? So let's just complete that and just fetch these documents to our front end. We just need to fetch them and then we call it day. I'm going to copy the code as well because for the front end I wanted to just demo exactly the backend, and I think the backend parts we are well and good. So let me just copy the front end. That is the script. There's no need we create that fetch. Let me see. This is how we fetch these documents. Then after fetching the documents, we need to render them here. Then boom. Let me just copy all the way to here like that. Then I'm going to go to here like that, and I'm going to remove a piece of code. Which code is this? This one here, because we have written it here, we don't need to write it like that. So once we save, now we can now try to explore what's going on. So let's explore a bit by bit. You see this open document, this open document, this function. Whenever I click a certain document, like this, whenever I click a certain document, I want to open that document. So this code is doing. Open that document and route to where? Location should be the document ID. Simple. Then here we have a function for fetching all the documents. You see? Asynchronous function fetch documents, and then that function we called it here. Then we take the response, and that response awaits, because it's an asynchronous function, then awaits the API docs slash docs. It's going to the where we have the docs, then it's going to fetch the documents, and then it's going to display that document in form of a JSON. But as you can see here, we have the render document list. That one is the function now, where we are going to paste the document and its actual content. Decide what you are going to show. Are you going to only show the title without the content? Yes or no? This is where you define everything like that. So here, whatever we are trying to do here, we are going to set the document list. And then we are going to fetch the inner HTML to an empty we are going to set that initially to an empty document. Then after that, now we can now add something inside the document list. So here we have a function of documents, then dot for each document, each actual document, then we are going to append everything as required. So the first thing that we append is the document title, the title element. We are going to create a div, or we are going to create an element for the for the title element. Then we're also going to write, once we create that div, we are going to take the title element that we have defined here. Then we are going to add the title of that content. Then after that, this one is just normal styling with JavaScript. You can ignore it for now. This one is you are just trying to style the document straight from the backend. We are trying to style this in the front end, but this time with JavaScript. This one here, I'm using Tailwind CSS. In case you are wondering how I'm doing it, I'm going to show you how I'm doing it. So also the title, whenever I click the title, I want to open the document. See this function? We already created this function here. Whenever I create a title, whenever I click the title, execute that function and open that to that specific ID. Then the rest is just repetition of the title. It's just repetition of the title. How? You see, I've displayed the title, display the time, display these buttons. It's the same. Display the date and time, display the delete button. Then everything is just like that. Then after we display that, we are just going to append that to the element. And that's what that code is basically doing. And we can try to see if we refresh. Yeah, and there we go. We have our document here that has been fetched to the front end. Then whenever I click that, I'm going to see this document like that. And I'm sure this one should have already saved to the database if I'm not wrong. This one is saved. Whenever I edit, seems that it has not saved, but we are going to create that function. It seems that we have not created the function for automatic sending to the database like that. And that's it for basically this session. We wanted to keep it short for us to just digest pieces, small pieces, small pieces, small pieces. We don't want to get it long before we digest any specific function. So whenever we are going to stop there. Then next week or next time, we are going now to see how we edit this document and save this document in real time. What are we going to do next time? We are going to do that. But we are going, but let me test the last thing. Let me just test the last thing. Remember we uncommented this code. Whenever I created a new document, then it opens that page. And let's say new test document, new test document 2. Like that, yeah, perfectly, and then it routes me to this document. When I come to my database, I can see I have more than one document. We have 2 documents, we have 1 out of 2. So we have, whenever you scroll, you are going to see the second document. So that's it for creating that document part. So I believe that has done some progress on the code that we are working on. So in case you have not seen how we have done the other parts, that is the setup and the rest, you can just go to my YouTube channel and then get the first recording for setting up the database and actually setting up the initial parts of the Node.js application. So basically that's it for today. Whatever we had for today is basically that. We don't want to do something extra. So basically that's it for today. And thank you a lot, guys, for joining. But in case you have any question, sorry, you can feel free to ask any question that you would like to ask. But again, make sure that you watch through the previous recording for you to see whatever we did last part. And again, we have a machine learning course that is coming up. So it's only going for 1500 Kenya shilling or 13 US dollars in case you are interested. The course is very nice. It's going to have support, real project, learn machine learning, everything. You can just text me, you can inbox me, and then we give you a discount, early bird discount. Then you learn machine learning with experts, with real support, with real example. So basically, that's it for today, and thank you for joining this session. I'll stop.